Welcome to the FeelsCast. I'm Adam.
I'm Steffi.
And today's topic are manga that we read. We read a lot of manga, so we figured we'd talk about the manga that we like to read.
Well,
it's a simple topic.
Well, a lot of mine are actually like one-shots, so it's not like I'm going to remember them offhand. But there are some pretty like longer volumes that we are going to talk about in this show. Most of them are going to be from Adam because I only read like 3.
I like to read a lot of things and keep up on a lot of things at one time. It's how I do.
I have like spurts where I want to read a manga, and then like afterwards I'm like, I want to read original / and then there's like parts where I'm like, I want to read an actual book. And like I have moments in my life where it's just like, alright, 3 months of this, and then 3 months of this, and then 3 months of this, and then it's just gonna rotate back again, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna read a manga again.
I have that all at the same time, so I just keep up with 17 things at once.
I can't do that anymore. I tried, and then I just forget I'm reading one thing, and then because I get so engrossed into like one like book or whatever that I just kind of forget about everything else.
So I figured one of the ones I wanted to talk about this week was Boku no Hero Academia, or My Hero Academy. It's a relatively new manga. It's one of Shonen Jump's big ones now. Like, it's going to if they do it well, it's going to be the next like Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, like the next big thing.
You know it's not big until they get an anime, though. Oh
yeah, no. But I think like if an anime hasn't been announced yet, because I don't always keep up on that, it's going to get one. It's very popular, and it's kind of made for that.
Okay.
It takes place in a world full of heroes and villains. Everyone is born with some type of superpower, from something incredibly useless, like you can make your nails grow a little bit faster, to something incredibly useful, like being able to make explosions with your hands because you sweat nitroglycerin. Except for the main character, who is born without a power. He's like the 1 in a billion chance of that happening.
So that's an anomaly.
Yeah, he has this weird like bone growth in his toe or something that doesn't affect him in any way, except for the fact that he doesn't get powers. Like, it's actually kind of interesting.
What if they like cut that bone growth off and he's like ends up being like the most powerful character in the series?
Well, what's actually interesting is that his favorite hero, because he's a hero fan, like he loves them all, and he's kind of bullied for being a wimpy nerd and for not having powers. His favorite hero is All Might, who is basically Superman. Like, he's the best hero. He saves the day, and he's cool looking, and he's muscular, and all his attacks are like Massachusetts Punch.
Massachusetts Punch.
I'm not actually 100% joking about that. All of his attacks are like states. It's kind of cool.
That's hilarious.
But it turns out after the main character meets All Might like in person, that All Might also was born without powers.
Oh.
And he got all his powers through this weird kind of half mystical thing where he can transfer the powers onto someone else, and that's what happened to him. Like, that's what happened to All Might before. He was just a kid, and then the dude before him gave him all his powers. So it's this weird legacy thing, and he chooses the main character to be the next step in that legacy.
Of course.
Yeah. And
why else would he be the main character?
Yeah. And so the main character has to both learn how to use these new powers he's slowly getting, which are insane to control. Like, it's basically just super strength, right? But it's so powerful super strength that, like, he can flick and it will destroy a building, but it also does a ton of backlash onto him.
So he'll destroy the building, but then he'll also fly like 1,000 feet backwards.
And his arm will be destroyed. Like,
does he have, like, super regenerative?
No.
No?
No, he does not.
Oh, okay.
So once he joins the school where you can train to be a hero, there's a nurse that has a healing ability that keeps him alive.
Oh. Well, lucky him.
I mean, it doesn't last forever. He's eventually going to die super young if he doesn't learn how to control his powers that way.
Which he will, because
it's the plot of a story, yeah. But it's really good because it's this main character who's hopeful and like, no, I'm going to be the best hero I can be. And also just a ton of fun little characters. There's a frog girl who's adorable. She's just like, hey, I'm a frog person. I hang on walls. I have a long tongue.
I'm going to squeeze her.
Gonna squeeze the frogs.
Get the frog juice.
Like, there's a lot of, like, characters with dark backstories that the main character has to help. It's very shonen-y, you know? Like, it's...
Yeah, it's a typical, like...
Yeah.
Almost up there.
Yeah, it's Naruto becoming friends with you because he punched you in the face. It's the weak kid learning how to get powers, learning how to actually grow. Though one of the things they did that was really interesting to me is that before he got his powers, he had to get buff. He had to get swole. So he had to actually learn how to. He had to gain stamina and control and stuff, all that, and then he got his powers. So he did they had a really great training montage of him moving a shit ton of trash from one end of the beach to the other end to actually throw it out, and there was a car there and huge pieces of metal. It was just him slowly moving it to get
very Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, it was this really interesting training montage. It's still going on. I think it's only 40 some chapters in. I don't know.
That's not bad. It looks like it's on 46.
Yeah, 46.
You can tell right there.
No, let's shut up.
Shut up.
They actually just did a big tournament arc because it's a shonen manga and they always have to have tournament arcs. Where
of course.
It was the big exercise day they have in Japan where it's
basically field day.
It's the field day, yeah. I couldn't think of field day. But yeah, but part of the field day is that they get to show off their powers to the world and actually how much they've trained in their first year. And that's they actually rake the superhero thing into a really decent business. There's
capitalize on powers.
It's kind of like that where I'm training with this guy and I'll eventually go off on my own or I'm part of a group or something. There's the main character story of just I'm training my powers and learning how to be the best hero I can be, while also having to keep secret that the best hero in the world is actually just some schlub, and also just this big world expanding thing of there are heroes and villains and having to learn how to fight those people and join organizations. It's a lot. There's a lot in it, but it's condensed really well.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm actually really happy with it. I'm surprised. I actually found out about it right when Naruto ended. There was a little piece of fan art.
It's probably okay, Naruto's over. I need to fill this void that was Naruto. That was going on for basically almost 10 years of my life. Oh look, new shonen manga.
Well, it was Naruto and Luffy handing off the reins to this new kid, and then Naruto walking off alone. He was hey kid, I know you can do well. I believe in you.
I remember you told me about this.
I was oh, this is actually really sweet, and I like it. And Luffy's I'll make sure he does well while I'm still here. I was just oh, my shonen sensibilities are making me cry.
The
FeelsCast. I actually wanted to bring up one that I brought up last week. I want to actually go a bit into more detail. When we were talking about our romance anime at the end, I was oh, let me recommend some shit real fast. I don't speak Japanese, so
Jitsu wa watashi wa,
or The Truth Is I Am, which is romance comedy anime or manga. School life. I'm reading the genres they have listed.
It says harem too.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that. It's basically there's a guy who can't keep secrets who has no poker face. But he falls in love with one of his classmates, who's this kind of dark and mysterious girl who always eats lunch alone, and she's super cool and quiet type. And he's I really like her, and I really want to ask her out. And then he walks into the classroom where he knows she'll be alone, and she has giant bat wings, and it turns out she's a vampire. So, and the big plot twist is that, or the big major plot of the story is that he has to keep her secret that she's a vampire, or else she gets kicked out of school.
Can she go out in the daylight?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not like a typical vampire where she'll burn up.
Well, she has to have sunscreen on. they make a lot of jokes with it, because it turns out she's not the cool stoic type, but she's kind of an airhead and funny and kind of a hick. She has a bit of an accent. And so they make fun of all the vampire stereotypes, she can't cross water. It's just that she feels uncomfortable. She has an allergy to garlic. Sunlight makes her turn red, so she gets sunburn really easily. But when she puts sunscreen on, she's fine. Yeah.
It's just every once in a while she gets super bloodthirsty and she has bat wings. No big deal.
I don't even think I can't remember the last time they brought up blood, but she does whenever she gets excited or happy or something. Her wings pop out and her teeth show, and the main character's shit, fuck, have to hide.
Put a bag over her head.
So he's always so the main plot is him trying to gather up the courage to confess to her, while also trying to hide the fact that she's a vampire when he can't hide anything for shit.
Now, does she also age? Or is that not touched upon yet?
I don't... Her father's like 20 feet tall. Her father... Okay, so one of the subplots of the series...
Her father's Slender Man.
No. Okay, one of the subplots of the series is that their romance, their budding romance, is exactly like her parents' budding romance, except gender reversed.
So she's gonna be 20 feet tall.
Apparently. And I'm just like, whoa, he's gonna be with a giant woman. I hope he's prepared for that.
I don't think anyone's ever prepared for that.
But it also has harem elements, because they introduce other supernatural beings. Like, the class president, who he used to have a crush on, but she turned him down super hard, turns out to be an alien. But not just any alien. She's a super tiny alien inside a robot that looks exactly like her. So like, everyone thinks, oh, the person that's hanging out with the super friends, it's just a robot. And she's inside the robot.
Very Men in Black.
Yeah, and she's, like, super military-minded, and they have, like, the best friend that, like, used to like him, but when they were younger, and now she's like, I still like him, but I can't admit it, because I'm, like, closed off or whatever. And she has talking glasses once in a while.
Talking glasses?
Yes. Talking glasses, like, glasses that you wear. They talk to her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's a very strange series, but it's very funny, and when it's sweet, it's kind of sweet. And also, they have a principal who's the worst person on Earth, who is a demon, who is an ageless demon, who looks like she's like 16 with horns.
I feel like you've shown me this manga.
I probably have. I actually really dig it. I think it's coming to an end, because they keep actually pushing the characters to confess to each other and actually, like, have a real romance. And I feel like you can't go much past that once this happens.
Okay.
Yeah, it's good. They have a teacher who is the demon's great-great-great-great-great-granddaughter, who, in her high school age, was a, like, gang member. And is now a high school teacher who all she wants to do is, like, find a nice guy and get married. But she's, like, 30-something and a spinster, quote-unquote, because it's Japan and you have to marry by the age of 22 or else you're forever alone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she's, like, really sad, but she still wants to have, like, the heart of a maiden, so she'll attract, like, her prince on a white horse. Like, she has these, like, juvenile fantasies, and it's, like, with this kind of rough and tough teacher. It's kind of cute. And she works at a maid cafe for a chapter.
Whoa.
Yeah. And the students find her, and they have to not react, or else she will murder them.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's, like, it has these amazing little bits, but it also has the whole harem, like, oh, I am in love with the one girl, but the other 3 girls are in love with me. What do?
What do?
And it has it doesn't have a lot of fan service, but it has some, because there's a character called the Charismatic Pervert. She's a werewolf. When she sees a moon, she reverses gender.
I wish this had a face cam, because my face is doing things that I don't know what it's doing.
She is male. Okay, when she ever sees the moon, she becomes, if she was female, she becomes male, and when he was male, he becomes female. And the female, I guess, is kind of more dominant, but also, like, perverted, quote-unquote. And so usually what happens is the guy will show up at inopportune times wearing, like, lingerie and being very confused. And it works on, like, a picture of a moon. It's so dumb. It's so dumb, but the jokes are really well done.
Well done.
Yeah.
That's...
The main character's granddaughter from the future shows up. Yeah, I know, that happens.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah, it's such a weird... It's getting an anime next season, so in a couple weeks.
Oh, well, I'm sure you'll be checking that out.
Oh, God, in a heartbeat. But
next season on FeelsCast, we'll talk about this again, but via anime.
The animation was really well. I'm glad they did that one character's hair that color. Anyway.
I'm going to stab you now.
That happens. My blood echoes. One that I thought you'd probably enjoy, because I know you kind of like cooking stuff. Like Yakitori Japan.
Yeah, which I never finished.
No, neither did I. Like, I stopped reading it after the 14th, cooking competition.
I think I stopped reading it right after the second competition.
Well, yeah, one that I found, because I also like cooking food, anime, and stuff like that, is Hell's Kitchen, which is a surprisingly funny cooking anime or cooking manga.
Not to be confused with the American TV show Hell's Kitchen.
That's actually half the reason I found it. I was going through a list of manga. I'm like, Hell's Kitchen.
Is this gonna be anime Gordon Ramsay? I'm in.
So it's about a kid who doesn't really have any direction in life. He's just an average schlub in middle school or whatever, Japanese middle school, and a demon possesses him. And the demon tells him, "You will now become the best chef in the world, and then I will eat you."
Okay.
Yeah, because the demon is a foodie. He's a foodie. I was trying to think of a better word for that.
Foodie?
He's a foodie. And he loves, like, disgusting food. I think he's called, like, the demon of, like, pestilence or something. The Earl of Poor Eating. I found it. Because he eats, like, anything and everything. But he also has a gourmet palate. So it's weird. So he revels in the bad tasting. So, and he's been wanting to eat a chef. Because the flavor of a chef's soul is, like, pure. But you can't find one that's pure enough. Because chefs are like, oh, I'm in for the money now. Or something like that. So he wants to make the purest chef. So he finds a dude with no aspirations in cooking. And he's going to turn him into the purest chef. By punching him in the face and possessing his body a lot. So he forces him into a exclusive cooking academy. By having a small cooking competition. With a dude where he makes. I actually really like this because he uses only the potato peels that his enemy uses to cook with, and he makes a sauce with the dirt on top of the potatoes because the guy didn't wash them far enough, and then because he peeled them too far, there was still enough potato on the skin to make like a really good crispy potato fry.
Oh my god!
So it's just like, this is delicious, and this sauce is delicious, and it's basically just dirt and potato skin. You're in, kid. And this is the demon doing this. The demon keeps possessing the kid, and the kid's like, shit, fuck, I'm screwed. Everyone's expecting great things from me.
Let me go bury myself in a hole now.
Yeah. But he, as it goes on, he learns actually how to cook, and like he makes friends. Because it's very much a high school manga. It's like, I'm making friends, and we got trapped on an island once, and there's this kid with extreme smelling capabilities. That's a really popular thing in cooking anime. I have no clue why.
The super sniffer.
Yeah, the super sniffer.
Because you're supposed to be able to smell the freshness of the food.
I mean, yeah, but they do it like...
I know, I understand. It's weird.
Because
it's actually something I don't really encounter a lot with my foray into the cooking anime world.
Yeah.
But that's because mostly I'm watching, like, either, like, really old ones or something like... with baking, like... What is the one I used to watch? It was, like, Yumiro Patisserie or something. I don't know, it's about this girl going into baking school.
That actually sounds interesting.
It's a very cute one. You'll probably like it.
I might have to check it out.
The only reason I was watching it is because I was like, this dude's good at making the chocolates. I want the chocolates.
That sounds like a show I watched. But yeah, it's really good. Yeah, the super sniffer thing's really weird. It happens in Shokugeki no Shoma, the big cooking anime that's out right now, because I also read that manga, so I'm ahead of where the anime is. It happens in here, and there's this whole battle about that kid now, because he's dark, and he's like, I hate cooking, I only like smelling things. I will capture the greatest scent in the world. I'm like, kid, chill.
You're in the wrong academy.
Chill.
He's in the wrong academy. He needs to go to the one with the perfume one.
Oh, yeah, that would be good. Yeah,
he'll branch off and go into his own manga series where he's the sommelier of perfume.
He lives with a detective, so yes, I'd like that. Where it's like, detective's like, I gotta solve this mystery, and here's my little kid partner. And he's like, I smell the corpses. It's like, you solved it with your scent powers. Yeah, Hell's Kitchen's it's surprisingly good.
I feel like I'd watch it. I'd read it.
It's weird. Like, I can't really say it's the best cooking manga I've ever read. I understand if it never gets an anime, but just conceptually, I like it.
I honestly like watching cooking shows rather than reading them. Because,
that's fair.
It's more visually appealing.
So you mentioned a couple manga that you really like to read.
Not really more like really like to read, but I just wanted to point out.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, like, there's very, very little manga that I really liked. I mean, other than...
Like?
Like. Other than, like, you know, the obvious Yu Yu Hakusho and Full Metal Alchemist, but we're not going to talk about that, because that's another podcast, obviously. But I did like Spiral Lines of Reasoning, which was, basically, this dude, the main character is the little brother of, this super smart older brother who's, like, a really good detective. And I guess it's basically, like, a kind of mystery manga, but not really. Because it's also about, like, these kids who, for some reason they were born without, like, their last rib, I think. It's been a really long time since I've read it.
That's like so biblical that I kind of want to just be like, no, you're not allowed to. That's not how that works.
And I forget what it was even about, honestly. But the children were called like the Blade Children, and there's a lot of accusing of murders. But anyway, fast forward because this is going to be spoilers. But anyway,
as it does,
because the manga ended way after the anime did, so. In the end, it ends up that the main character was a clone of his brother, which is why he was never good enough in his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But and the girl who was with the main character, she ended up being like the spy for the main character's brother, which was really like, what the fuck? It was such a plot twist and a brain freeze at the same time. It's just like everything just kind of went.
You're good at describing things.
I know, I'm so great.
No, that sounds really weird. Like,
it was really weird, and like, because this whole thing was about like, you know, finding trust and like betrayal. It happens, and then it ends up being like, you know, the person closest to you, and like it makes sense, but at the same time, it's just like, but that sucks. And like, the main character had a lot of similarity to his older brother, like his penchants to liking older women.
Mm-hmm.
Ends up that the girl who was infiltrating the high school was older than the main character, whose name was Narumi. I can't remember the girl's name.
I don't remember any characters' names.
Whatever. But she ends up being older than him too, which he's attracted to. Yeah, one of the qualities that he was attracted to, I guess. I don't know, but it was like very subconscious, and like he didn't even know that she was older than him. So at the end, because he's dying. At the end, I think he dies. Anyway,
yeah.
Spiral, read it because I said so.
You're really good.
I know.
At describing. No. It sounds interesting enough. Like,
it was interesting. At the same time, it was one of those mangas that were just like really like what the fuck.
Yeah, they
like
kept
throughout the entire series. It's just like what the fuck.
Having random twists and bullshit like that.
It was a good read, honestly. I didn't regret it, but at the same time, I wished I was older when I was reading it, because I did read it like sophomore year.
It's something that you'd probably like understand better as a bit of a more adult person.
Yeah, which is why I liked Law of Ueki so much, because Law of Ueki was made for a younger audience because it teaches you how to be a good person, basically.
It has morals and all that.
Yeah, and like nobody dies, and if they did appear to die, they kind of come back because they weren't dead. They kind of. Their bad side died, and then they become a good person, basically.
Of course. I punched you, and now you're my friend.
Yeah.
You're part of my crew now.
I'm kind of upset that Law of Ueki wasn't as popular as it could have been. But I read the manga afterwards, which was pretty close to the anime anyway. That basically the main character, Ueki, he gains a superpower to become... And his superpower, first of all, is to turn trash into trees, which is like the dumbest thing.
Which it actually really fits in the whole teaching kids how to be good.
Yeah, it does, because the main character's aspiration was to be like the person who saved him, who was a god candidate. Because in this whole series, what they do is they have these god candidates. God's like a super rad bro kind of surfer dude.
Best type of god.
Yeah, but they were all candidates to become the next god. So the god candidates also picks a human, gives them a superpower, and have them fight for them.
That sounds awesome. That sounds like Zatch Bell, but that sounds awesome.
They have them fight for him. So whoever's human wins, that god candidate becomes the next god. Basically, that's the story. So it's basically a tournament.
Yeah.
Like an entire series of just one tournament.
It's a shonen manga.
Yep. But the character's power gets to grow, so eventually he gets to make other things other than trees. Like, his trees can turn into springy trees, or it can turn into a cannonball with a tree.
So just as long as it's wood.
As long as there's tree in it,
Yeah.
his power can do it.
I like that.
Yeah, and he gains like a thingy. I don't know, but he has a friend thingy. I don't remember much about it.
He has a thingy and a friend thingy.
It's a thingy and a friend thingy, but it helps him
Gain stars, I think. This is me wiping my nose.
That's fine. He has a friend that helps him train to become like better, so he can be stronger than all of the others. Because everybody's powers are also going to evolve, but because their powers have like a level, so the max is I guess 5 stars.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was 5 stars or like 10 stars though. Honestly, it's been a while.
You should reread it.
All 154 chapters.
That would take like a weekend.
It's
manga.
A weekend I don't have.
It's manga. It doesn't take that long to read.
I did rewatch the show like twice though, so but it's also high school, so it's a while. But I also liked the sequel, which was a different. So he apparently in the sequel, I think, loses his memory.
Of course, because you
also
need to have an amnesia somehow.
And then he gets transported to another world.
This is sounding so bullshit. This is like, alright, I want to make a new manga, but I really like this character's art style, and I don't want to make a new one.
Yeah.
Alright, he's just this new guy, but he looks exactly alike.
Yeah, I think that's what he did, because there was like very little mention of the previous story throughout the entirety of the sequel, which was also shorter, because it was only 5 volumes as opposed to...
Probably because everyone was like, we know you're just bullshitting with this.
Probably.
We know it's the same. You could have just made a new character, you know.
Yeah, and his new companion is a sheep instead of like a thing.
Instead of a person?
No, it was a thing.
It was a thing.
No, look at it. That was a companion. It's a thing. I don't know what the fuck it is.
I thought that was like the...
No,
okay.
It's a thing.
So it's like the letter T upside down on fire with
it
Super
goes on
Saiyan hair?
It goes on his wrist, and it talks to him.
Yeah, alright.
I don't know. It's weird. Watch it. Or read it. Whatever. Do it. Law of Ueki.
Before we head off, I want to talk about one more.
Okay.
Because it's very interesting, and it was going around on Tumblr for a while, which is how I found it. The English is, boys, please kiss him instead of me. It's Watashi go motate daosundan? Daosunda?
Watashi ga motete dosunda.
Yeah, I don't speak Japanese. It's a shoujo romance reverse harem kind of dealy.
Didi.
It's about a girl who is an otaku, quote unquote, and a fujiyoshi, and she likes boys kissing, and she like purposely ships these 2 guys in her class. Like she has the number nickname for them. Like it's 16 and 17. Yeah. And
I very rarely encountered the number thing outside of Reborn.
yeah. But she eventually attracts 5 people who all want in her pants. It's 2 of the guys that she shipped together, a younger student who's like a year younger than her, so she's the senpai, and her friend in the history club, and eventually another woman who is also a fujiyoshi like her. And it's like she's just like, fuck, I don't know what to do with real romance. Why are these people after me? And she's just trying to deal with it and be respectful to their like emotions and feelings, and they're all like, alright, we're all in love with her and we all know it. We're just gonna do this evenly, so no one gets one up on each other, and she gets to choose. So just she has her harem following her around at all times.
Nice.
It is kind of problematic,
I assume,
because all shoujo is usually problematic in some way. It starts off with her very overweight, so that's the reason no one's like going after her romantically, because she's kind of a fat character. And then after one of her favorite characters dies. Like, her favorite characters. A fictional character in her universe dies. She doesn't eat anything for, like, 5 days, or no, for, like, a week or so, and she skips school, and she just stays in her room mourning. She loses a ton of weight and becomes quote-unquote hot.
because that's realistically how you lose weight. You don't eat for like a week.
I mean, I think the idea was that like she just wasn't. She was barely eating. She was only eating bare minimum, so she wasn't getting like a ton of calories. But that's really unhealthy and not how that works at all.
I can go into a whole
Spiel
another
about
podcast about what is.
There's so much wrong there. Don't get me wrong. But it's one of those things that you have to, like, get through to get to the actual core of it, which is this girl joking, like, being surrounded by handsome men and one handsome woman, and just being like, I want you all to make out. And I won't mean the girl to really like that, because the girl's also into that.
Alright.
Yeah, it's a sweet little series, but it has that problematic, like, beginning.
As most manga really actually do. Like, well, I guess not most, but
A lot of, especially
the
shoujo manga
ones, yeah,
and manga in
definitely.
general, yeah.
yeah, definitely shoujo ones, because I think it's also a culture thing, though.
Yeah.
Because the culture there is completely different, so it's not like we can just be like, oh, yes, please follow our American standards and just draw shoujo the way we want it to. No, it's not going to happen, because, first of all, they live all the way on the other side of the ocean.
Yes, that is the main problem.
Second of all, there's also a language barrier.
That is also a problem. Yes.
Third of all, it's their manga. We can't really just be like, yeah, do it our way. No.
It's why, Kill la Kill is feminist in Japan, and America, people find it, like, not feminist because she's running around with her boopers out. It's like, oh, that's just sexualizing male gaze, and in Japan it's like, well, she's actually taking control of her sexuality, which is a big thing.
And also, cleavage is like a no-no in Japan in the first place.
Which is
so.
why, like,
And, like, America is like, oh, look, cleavage everywhere!
Feminism in Japan... Feminism in anime is a topic for another day.
Another podcast.
Yeah.
Like a different podcast, not the FeelsCast. It's not a topic for the FeelsCast. It's... Whatever. Anyway, that concludes our podcast for today.
Yeah, any recommendations?
Not really. I mean, like, aside from a lot of big name mangas, because, like, if you watch the anime, most of the time...
There's a manga attached.
Yeah, and, like, my favorite's obviously, like, Full Metal, because I didn't watch Brotherhood, so I can't really...
But if you've read the manga, you've seen
watched
Brotherhood.
Yeah, so Full Metal Alchemist, obviously. Yu Yu Hakusho.
Any of the ones that I mentioned today?
I guess
are
Holic.
really... Yeah, XXX Holics.
Holics.
I wouldn't recommend that.
Actually, yeah, you're right. Neither would I. The ending was shit. Like, I'd recommend reading it in the beginning, and then you can kind of drop off where they were doing, like, the Tsubasa Chronicle crossover with the Holic crossover, because that was kind of awful. Where it started to get super confusing, and it's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Just push that aside for now. Princess was good.
Mm-hmm.
Princess. Read it, don't watch it.
Watch the live action. It's hilarious. Any of the one that I mentioned today are fantastic, and I really dig. Yandere Kanojo is a really sweet little, like, romance manga that I really like. It's about a Yankee girl and a dude with glasses who's kind of plain, and they fall in love at first sight, and it's sweet.
All right.
Yeah, and also Shiori Experience is about a kind of dull teacher who gets possessed by Jimi Hendrix. And it's awesome and rock and roll.
Because Jimi Hendrix.
Because Jimi Hendrix.
You don't need any other reasons besides Jimi Hendrix. Read it because Jimi Hendrix. Okay! Sold. Alright. I guess that's it.
Yeah, that was the FeelsCast.
That was indeed the FeelsCast. We had the feels.
And many of them.
Many. Alright. Goodbye.
Have a good day.
No, goodbye.
Keep watching.
No, we don't watch.
Keep on reading.
We don't read.